There's a secret buff in God of War Ragnarok that you can trigger in a very special way, and the game doesn't tell you about this at all, but I think I figured out the increases you get, and as you can see, it's really strong, even on the no mercy difficulty. I will tell you how this works, share an amazing build around this, and way more. There are no story spoilers in this video, only for if you haven't finished the first main story mission in Vanaheim yet, which like 7 to 8 hours into the game. Of course, if you enjoy Ragnarok, then don't leave a like on the video to show your support, and let's go. But first, if you're looking for a new game after God of War Ragnarok, then totally check out Evil West, that just released on every platform. The fact that you play a cowboy who's killing demons already sounded appealing to me, but I did not expect that it plays this well. You start out with some basic moves, can already use the environment to your advantage, and then very rapidly and often you will unlock more skills, like one where you will quickly be able to rush to enemies to electrify them. I especially love the ranged weapons that you can use as well. Also has some nice DualSense features, like it's very satisfying to use and chain together these moves. You can find money which you can then spend on pretty impactful perks and upgrades. The bosses have been great so far, just like the varied locations. You can play everything alone or with a friend in co-op. I didn't expect to like this game as much, so I'm really happy that Focus reached out. They are also sponsoring the video, appreciate that a lot. Make sure you check out Evil West via the special link in the video description, and now let's get back into it. So this secret buff is all about the enchantments you can of course find in the amulet tab in your armor menu. So while it's obvious that slotting 3 enchantments of the same realm will unlock a special perk, and we of course have the unique enchantments that give a single buff if you meet the stat requirements, but there's another combination that the game doesn't tell you about. If you namely equip an enchantment from every realm in the game, as you can see right here, then during combat you will suddenly see the 9 realms buff appear, but there are no details as to what this might do. Before I tell you what I found, of course, it's important to have an enchantment of each realm. You can check the blacksmith because they are selling quite a lot. So like I bought the Helheim enchantment here to complete my collection. But also near the end of the game, you can find enchantments with a plus 20 stat increase for one particular stat. And it seems that almost every realm has one of them, and since we can only equip one for each realm, it's of course nice to equip the best one available. And you can find these during optional content in the late game, and I will leave a link to an article with all the locations in the video description. And you of course also need to repair all the amulet slots, so I'll also leave a link to a guide for that in the video description. So then you're set, you're able to equip an enchantment of every realm, and can see that the 9 realms buff triggers on hitting enemies with a weapon, so not when dealing damage with a runic attack. Now still, when it's active, you will not immediately notice any damage increases or incoming damage reduction. No, from what I found, you will only notice the effect from this buff if you have the Glacial Permafrost or Furious Immolation skill activated. Like, these skills are already great on their own, enhancing the damage, and in the case of the blades, it also adds burning explosions and increases the amount of rage you gain. So to activate them, you need to deal damage to an enemy without being hit yourself. You will then see the circle next to your health bar build up, and when it's full, you can do L1 and triangle to trigger the skill. Again, already great, but you can make it even better with that 9 realm buff, and you will see it mostly appear just before reaching that full circle, so then you likely have to do 1 extra hit to be able to activate the skill, and now you will deal even more damage than before, like the increase is pretty significant. Let's look at this poor traveler on the no mercy difficulty. I'm already doing some fine damage without the 9 realms buff. It's okay, but it can be way better. So then I equip an enchantment from every realm, get back into the fight. The 9 realms buff trigger, I immediately do the Glacial Permafrost skill when I can, and yeah, the damage is pretty wild now. And what is also great is that the 9 realms perk lasts for 8.5 seconds, which is almost a full permafrost duration, so you can benefit from the increased damage for a really long time. And again, the particular effect of the perk is not noted anywhere, but I thought, okay, let's look at other of the 9 realm items and see what they are doing. And then I looked at the X grip of the 9 realms that you get from the Berserker, who is over here on the map in Alfheim. With this one, you trigger a realm shift when activating that Glacial Permafrost skill. And then I thought, okay, so maybe that is what this 9 realm perk does as well. And yes, maybe I already guessed it, it, having the slowdown time from this grip in combination with the 9 Realms perk is really good. There's also a blade pommel that can be looted from the Berserker in Vanaheim over here on the map. And this basically has the same effect, but when doing the Furious Immolation with the blades. So then you also slow down time when activating this skill and can more easily deal damage, which is then increased with the 9 Realms buff. Now, I personally prefer the skill from the X though. It just deals a bit more damage in my opinion, and I like the extra waves you send out on your regular hits as well. But it can be quicker to build up the circle with the blades, as you can easily deal damage to more enemies and hit a bit faster too. And they can always switch to the X and still do the permafrost skill while you have built up the circle with the blades. It's a pretty great combination. I'm using the Undying Pyres, Bracers and Gloves, which increase the rate at which you build up the permafrost and immolation circle. You can also equip the chest if you want, because then you get this gold glowing shield when the circle is full, which will make sure that the next hit you take will not reset the circle. This can in particular be great when fighting multiple enemies, when it's kind of overwhelming, but if you have no problem with this, they can also switch out the chest for the Surtur chest, because this increases your damage when you hit enemies during their attack, and you can more easily do this during a realm shift, which will be triggering often anyways. You can get these items in Muspelheim, and I did a full guide on that realm and the other amazing rewards in a previous video, so totally check that out if you are curious, link in the video description. Other tips include using a momentum skill mod, which you can of course apply after using a skill often, which you can farm in Niflheim if you want. With the momentum skill mods, you build up the special circle even faster when using those particular moves. And I use the Valor Rage because if you have any status effect on you, you will not be able to build up the permafrost or immolation skill circle. So using that to cleanse the status effect is great, but of course even better would be to use this the moment that the enemy is about to strike you, then you will negate their damage and get a strength buff in return. It's also smart to use runic attacks to build up the circle next to your health even faster. The Breath of Thamur is amazing. You get this from the Odin Raven chest. With this, you immediately have the permafrost. The only downside is that it will take a bit longer than to trigger the 9 Realms perk as well. Now, it's only possible that this secret perk does more than what I found. Like, it also triggers when using your bare hands, which of course kind of strange, because then it's basically useless. Like, it can trigger in random moments, but it does seem to always trigger, at least in my experience, when starting the fight, building up the permafrost without getting hit, and then the moment you're about to have a full circle, you will always see the 9 Realms buff. Still though, if you tried this out yourself, found other uses, I'm all ears, so totally let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe of course for way more Ragnarok content if you haven't already. A like on the video would really help me out. Check out Evil West in the video description, I think you will like it. And yeah, our previous video is up on the screen on the early game armor set that is better than you might expect. For now, I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.